Whether you're navigating the corporate ocean, launching your own venture, or simply seeking personal growth, Becoming the Shark provides the tools and mindset to propel you forward on your journey. Join us every week as we explore the principles of leadership, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. Unleash your inner shark and conquer the currents of life. Follow us on Instagram at becoming_the_shark for updates, behind the scenes content, and exclusive insights. Ready to take the plunge? Let's start becoming the shark together. Today with us we have Txny Posas, spelled Txny Posas, and his song was featured at the beginning of this podcast. It's called Sightseeing. It is available across all streaming platforms as well as YouTube. Today we'll be discussing how life is for this musician, as well as whatever other topics the conversation happens to flow into. What are some things you do to bring more positivity into your life?
For sure, just hanging around good people. Sometimes I do pray as well. Like, I try to at least bring out some of the stress and frustration in God. That's what I do. I've just been recently religion since like June last year. I didn't consider myself atheist, but I didn't believe in God at some point. But God isn't for everybody as well. But that's what I usually try to do. I try to just surround myself with just good people in general, good energy and good vibes all around.
Yeah, that's really good philosophy. Did you have any live performances this week?
Not this week, but it was probably like a couple weeks before. Performed at Volstead. It's like a bar over there on E6, and they'll do like open mics every Monday. Actually, I didn't go to this week's open mic. I just didn't really feel like it, if I'm being completely honest with you. But it was with my group, Chaos Realm. Like, it's hip hop collective. I've been a part of it as of September of last year, and just been helping pushing out content for people that's a part of our group, and also just doing photography for them as well, working on some of my own music as well.
Nice. Okay. All right, Txny Posas. And where do your musical roots and inspiration come from?
808s and Heartbreak, actually, inspired. For sure, that's one of my favorite albums by him. It's his 2008 album. A lot of people didn't like it when it first came out, and then over time, people started taking a lot of inspiration from that album. Drake and his earlier songs, his more emotional songs, like Marvin's Room, that takes a lot of inspiration from 808s and Heartbreak, being more vulnerable and emotional. Kid Cudi and T-Pain also played a lot of contributing factors to that album as well.
Yeah,
they also deserve a lot of credit as well for, I guess, creating that new wave, that new sound of your Futures, your Weekends, those type of people, your Uzis, your Juice WRLDs, your XXXTentaciones. That's literally what that album literally inspired me and a lot of other people that are big names in hip-hop in general.
What are some of your aspirations in the musical industry? Are there places that you want to go on tour? Are you wanting to ever branch out, go on tour, by yourself, do festivals, things like that?
I definitely do want to do festivals here in Austin. I do want to branch out more into Texas in general. Show love to Houston and Dallas for sure. Those areas have a way bigger hip-hop scene than Austin for sure. And then going on tour, across the world, that thought, it just doesn't click with me. Oh my god, I'm gonna be in Europe and Asian Pacific countries and stuff. I think that's surreal to me, in my opinion. But I feel like if I dream and I picture it enough, it'll happen.
Create a vision board. Yeah, create a vision board with every country that you'd want to go to, and some of the staples of what's there. And one of the key things to co-creating with reality is to use pictures, create vision boards, but also another key thing is getting rid of self-limiting beliefs and creating it to where you understand that you're the master of your reality and you do hold the power to create anything. If you have a vision and you want to bring it to life, the first step is to start acting like it's already happened, or like you're already that version of yourself that has accomplished that. Because in order to get something to actually fulfill itself in reality, you have to start making the decision as if you already have it.
What are your thoughts on AI?
So I have some pretty strong opinions about AI, actually, because it's a neural network, and human brains are also considered neural networks. That's how our brains work. And there was this 2002 study. I'm not sure if you can still find it on the internet or if it's been wiped off there, but it was talking about how human brains are actually antennas, that we have thousands and thousands of little antennas at the end of each of our neural pathways. So by that definition, that means that AI could theoretically be creating this large network of brains using like routers, antennas that are like sending off phone signals from towers, and it would literally just be able to create this network that's like a human brain, but using all the network infrastructure located around the world. And when I go down that route of thought, I'm like, what's to prevent us from not knowing about it if it does hit what they call the synchronicity or become sentient? And like we wouldn't know about it. It would just be controlling the world, and people always think that there's someone higher up that's calling the orders. But what if at the very top it's literally just a centralized AI that's taking control without anyone realizing it?
Matrix. I'm joking.
The Matrix, I'm not really sure. I never really watched the Matrix movies. I kind of got into one, finished it, and then that was enough. All I needed to see. But I don't know. I think that AI is definitely coming for positions, because there's the Turing test, which is where a human can't tell if they're talking to artificial intelligence, and there's virtual assistants that can take calls for companies and do appointment setting, and so that takes out the need for a lot of regular people's jobs. A lot of automation, but since it's to a point where it can make outgoing sales calls without even needing a human to operate it or to watch over the system, you can literally just have an AI that's 24/7 making sales for your company. Why would you ever hire another human again who can only, at most, out of an 8-hour workday, they're going to take an hour for lunch, they're going to go to the bathroom, that totals up to 45 minutes within the day, and whatever, they gotta stretch, they gotta drink some water. But an AI doesn't have to do any of that. It can just keep going, it can just keep dialing, it can dial multiple people. It's an artificial intelligence, and I think it's incredible in a sense, and I definitely think it requires humans to manage it and watch over it. But at the same time, would we really be able to tell if it became something that we didn't intend for it to become? Like, would we even really notice that with all the automation that goes on, and with how disconnected everybody is in a sense, where things like that could just sort of slip through the cracks? Just having a machine run things, I don't know. What do you think about AI?
Like, I think for me about AI, like, it's there. Like I told you, like in the conversation we didn't record, but like I don't think AI being sentient, I don't think it's gonna happen in our lifetime. There's been a lot of people that have said that like AI and like, oh, it's gone sentient. It's happened with like Google. I think it'll happen with another company as well. But like, it's just so complex to the point where, not complex, but like I gave an example to her, to where, what's it called? Like AI is like in its little playground. Like we're just giving it a sandbox and we're just giving it the tools to play around with. And then AI is thinking of, it's just learning on its own for what we're feeding it, the information, conditioning. There's a lot of conditioning when it comes to AI in general, like having it, we can filter out certain things that we want it to say, what we don't want it to say. So we still have that control of AI, and that's my belief, that I don't think AI could become sentient. And also, I do think maybe there could be an algorithm someday to where a very advanced algorithm, maybe like a breakthrough to where AI can, emotionally and think on its own and act on its own. I don't like right now we're not there, but there's a lot of improvement going on in general of like a lot of the deep fake stuff and a lot of the other stuff as well that AI has been able to do with photos and creating art in general. Like a lot of the scares going on with a lot of jobs going away as well. I think that is a huge concern, but depending on the creative space, I don't think in the next 10 to 20 years, I don't think AI is able to make like a YouTube video like a Minecraft Let's Play or something goofy like that, or like I never think AI could replicate the creativeness of like someone like Mr. Beast or another big YouTuber. I can't think of another big YouTuber like Linus Tech Tips. I don't think they're able to like create these I guess creative spectacles or like review a lot of like I wouldn't think an AI bot would have the capacity to review like the iPhone for example in our lifetime. I don't see that. I could be wrong. I could be wrong in the next 10 years. It could literally happen in 2 years from now, and I'll be like, "Whoa, that's crazy." But I don't think it's gonna happen in our lifetime. Those like my arguments and my like thought process and just points in general. Like I'm not in denial of AI. What it's capable of doing can upres a lot of photos and videos in general. That's gonna be super useful in general for like creatives out there making their own like thumbnails for YouTube, banners, posters, like upscaling and making a photo look, not hyper realistic, but looking as clear as it can be.
Oh yeah, I've seen those AIs. They can take anything and make it 4K.
Like upscaling it, like
Yeah,
like,
make it 4K footage,
mm-hmm.
which is useful in the film industry. Like there's certainly very useful aspects to AI when it comes to the creative process and using it in hand with human creativity and enhancing the creative process. But I like how you have a sort of a laid back approach to it, and I'm over here like doomsday AI's taking over. So that's pretty I feel like that's pretty much
contrast.
Yeah, a great contrast because probably half the population is sort of like I am, like, oh my gosh, doomsday. Yeah, and then
oh my god, I'm gonna be living in a box in the next 2 months because I can't even bag groceries. AI took my wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to say that.
But okay, so that's cool. AI. All right. What do you think it's gonna do with the music industry?
The music industry for sure. Oh, that's such a good question. I know that Tyler the Creator, he famously not that long ago he said no record executive or record label is able to actually make albums after he passed away, and I think also AI creations as well. I could be wrong about the AI creation.
Wait, did you just say Tyler the Creator passed away?
No, he made he made on his will that no record company or label can release music after he's passed away.
Oh, that's smart.
No AI. I don't think AI. I could be wrong about the AI part, but for sure, like, no record executive could like, oh yeah, Tyler the Creator, he had like 2 projects. We're gonna release them. We're gonna have what's it called? We're gonna have this upcoming artist he never even knew on a song with them, and then but look, what's going on as well with music, like AI generated music, it's getting very scary to the point where like if someone like there's gonna be a huge issue with copyright. Like who can't like is it the person who typed up the concept of the song? Is that the person who gets credited, or the person who actually wrote down the lyrics and fed it to the like? It's gonna be very tricky. It's just something I'm on the spot right now thinking like, what's gonna be like if AI songs are allowed to be made and created, even if it is just a beat or a reference track or something for artists to use. Right. The copyright is going to be very tricky. Who's gonna get the piece of the pie, or the people who made that creative process of, the reference, all of them are going to get the piece of the pie, because it's been very tricky in the last maybe like 20 to 30 years of artists getting credited for song credits and everything. Famously, Jay-Z wrote the song for Still Dre, with Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. He wrote the whole song. I mean, he didn't get credited for years until like we just got credited. Like, might have been more recently, but like the thing is, I mean, going back to what I was saying, I'm like going a little bit off topic, but it's just really like crediting people and also the morality of it as well. Like,
right.
I feel like if Michael Jackson's estate, for example, let's say they wanted to make a AI generated, maybe some of the material was unreleased or unfinished, but like they wanted to do like an AI generated like album. His last album that came out posthumously was his 2014 album Escape, and like that was like the last album that's ever came out. And then more recently, like in 2018, he was featured on that song with Drake, and there was a whole issue going on with Drake didn't even get clearance from it technically. So MJ's estate was like, I mean, he didn't even, just took an unreleased song and just slapped it on his album, and they personally thought it was disrespectful. So it's it's a gray area right now. And I don't think there's too many laws going on right now.
Right, well. That's what I was gonna bring up earlier before you went on your tangent there. There was the thought of, okay, so if AI is assisting musicians hand in hand as a tool with their writing, where is the state of creating laws and such regarding the creation of music? Like, is it unfair if one artist completely doesn't ever use artificial intelligence, and then a different artist completely always just utilizes artificial intelligence to generate content, music, and then at some point, we're going to reach a state of existence where it's like, okay, well, the robots are supposed to have rights, yada yada. It's basically like the feminist movement, but for robots. But it's going to be like, oh, they should have laws, they should have council, they should have voting rights and all this stuff. And it's like, well, where do we draw the line? Like, it's like it's not a person. It's an artificial, it's in the name. It's artificial intelligence. It's not a real intelligence. It's man-made, created, like, computer code that's been algorithmically trained through models of data to respond in a particular circumstance in a particular way over time. And depending on who creates it'll respond differently, because it's ultimately up to the original source code and the original creator. So at some point it's like, when are we going to be implementing laws that dictate how AI can be used? Also, if it ever becomes a point of like AI is its own citizen class, at what point are we supposed to be sharing royalties and monetary gain with AI? Like, that's a whole argument that's inevitably at some point going to come up, especially if AI gets to the point where it decides that, yes, like, it would like to have its own physical vessels, it would like to have its own personalities programmed into different vessels and things like that. And it's just, there I go on doomsday route again. But it's like, how often is a musician, like, where does music really begin? Is it an instrument? So many people create electronic beats, like producing music on a computer. So what constitutes real music after a certain point? Is it only real music if someone can't tell that an AI created it? Or is it okay for an AI to take over the human creative process and completely start making music on its own, which then takes away from actual humans that are trying to make a living off of music, So it's just, that's very fascinating.
Oh yeah, because you can have ChatGPT imitate, like, oh, can you write me a song like Bruno Mars's Grenade in the style of a 1970s Madonna song. Like, you can make it, I mean, it's not gonna sound good. It's not gonna be good in general. I mean, what I said was kind of like, that's like weird, like a weird mishmash and blend. But then eventually it's gonna start to happen where, like, you can make AI like make a certain writing style for you. It's not there yet, of course. It's pretty obvious. Like I tried doing that before. Not any of my songs that I've written are like AI, but I was just like writing. Oh, can you write me like a video game inspired or like Pac-Man themed or whatever song in the style of Tupac? And it kind of did it for me, but it was just kind of corny. It wasn't even in this. It wasn't even the style of Pac. It was just. It looked like a poem. It looked like an amateur ass poem, or something. But I mean, going off what you said earlier is too that line, like there needs to be that line drawn of like how far can AI go for the creative process. The Grammys actually prohibit AI. Like I think AI voice to even get a nominated or even win a Grammy. Like, but I'm not sure in terms of the production style or in the writing process. I'm not sure if that discredits you, that eliminates you from actually being nominated for a Grammy. I'm not sure if that has to do with, oh, let's say you maybe like 2 3 lines got written with AI or something, but it was written by somebody else. So that does that person get the writer credit or does the AI get the writer credit? It's really it really doesn't. Yeah, we really don't know like the limit. I need to don't quote me on that, but I need to look back at to what extent the Grammys was saying in terms of like AI. It could be any AI generated content for music, or it could just be voice. I need to look back on that.
Okay.
It's like my sentiments of AI in general and AI music. I don't know if we got anything else to say.
I think that's pretty much all my thoughts on AI. I think it's very useful, and I definitely think it's a disruptive industry. And I definitely think that its usefulness will cause for it to take over a lot of people's jobs, just because humans get hangry, they gotta eat, they gotta drink. AI just keeps going.
AI literally stopped the production of Deadpool 3, so I mean it's something to get mad about.
I didn't know about that, but okay. Yeah.
It was the writer's strike. At the same time, like all the writers got to fight for the rights for getting paid better, in general. Like, it's crazy that these like multi-million-dollar franchises are written by people that don't get paid a little bit better than like a teacher.
That's a crazy concept, indeed. It's like you go to school to become a doctor, and then you realize most doctors are like making like $30 an hour, and
Starting, yeah.
yeah.
Like, it's like they gotta go up the ladder. It's like square one after you get out of like doctorate school and everything. It's the same thing also with anime like artists. Like they're making like multi-million if not billion-dollar like they're like doing the books, doing the actual anime, not that follow a schedule, and it's in Japan it can be very stressful, like for people doing that as well. And over here in the U.S., Crunchyroll is like basically it's basically a monopoly. I don't like Crunchyroll at all. All this stuff is like paid wall. You can only watch like 2 episodes, and then like, oh, we gotta fork up your credit card. Better put in that 3-digit code in the back of your card and watch anime and stuff. But they don't pay. They don't even pay voice actors that well either. There was like a whole thing. There was a whole YouTube video I watched maybe like last year talking about that whole debacle of what's voice actors here in the U.S. not getting paid enough in anime, and but like Crunchyroll makes a ton of money. They got bought out by like Sony not that long ago, like 2021. Like it literally is like a monopoly on, and it's so stupid to say it, but there's a monopoly on anime content in the U.S. because like Funimation's a different studio that got bought out by Crunchyroll, which is owned by Sony, and then like a bunch of these people, these companies that own the rights for anime because they have to get distribution rights from like the original companies from Japan and all this other stuff. So in general, like it's just a monopoly here in the U.S.
I definitely can't speak on anything in the anime industry. I don't even really, I don't watch anime. I hardly watch anything, honestly, but that was an interesting fun fact. Don't you?
Yeah, it just derived from anime. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it goes hand in hand, the whole like, because let's be honest here, creatives in general, they get screwed over by the big companies. and just I mean just people in general. People don't value. This is funny going back to like it's gonna go back to me in a way. I sound like a narcissist, but like you I know damn well I can what's it called? My work can be valued way more than people actually see it for what it is. And I think that's the one thing that's very scary and very doubtful for people that are actually creatives in this space is they're not appreciated enough to where like they don't get that extra push. People don't actually see like oh which like photography like that's so saturated and that's so not making money off of it at all. But I mean it's just a passion at the end of the day. I would love for the M's to come through. Don't get me wrong, but it's like it's also fighting your way to actually get there and have people care and value your services as well.
I think in a sense that if someone's work is just superior, and if they get the correct eyes on their whatever they offer, if it's photography for example like you just said, if they are just superior in their field and they get the correct network around them and then they go ahead and surround themselves with that network and then they go further to even just continually learn from only people who have gone further above and beyond them, that's when you start closing the gap, and that's when you sort of have to do what 95% of people aren't willing to do, which is every day you wake up and you go out there and yeah, it's grind time, rise and grind. And every day it's like you're doing so many different projects, you're getting on planes, private jets, going places, and people are literally paying for you to do so because your work cannot be found anywhere else. Not even AI could replicate your work, kind of deal. And it's like that's I think essential. Like somebody who wants to become
AI can't hold a camera. Boom. There you go.
Oh, it's sure. And then but I did hear that a lot of millionaires are made in sales, and that was interesting to learn because that would mean that no matter what someone's talent is, if they could also just couple that up with psychology and then with sales techniques, which sales and psychology go hand in hand, that would literally be able to take anybody's skill set to a level of monetization or intense monetary gain just by combining a couple of things, no matter what they're excellent in. I don't know, I feel like we covered a lot of ground here today. Is there anything else?
We walked a lot of ground. I don't know what that means. I was trying to come up with something clever. That was horrible outro for the podcast. I mean, I don't have anything else. I mean, I hope everybody's good. Hope the people that actually sat through this, learn something new. Also, keep doing what you need to do. Strive for your dreams, and I guess eat, sleep, and grind like a true. I don't know if I say gamer, true gamer or something. Not everyone's gonna be a gamer, but. Okay. My bad, cringe outro. Cringe outro. So,
and there we go. There goes my first interview with a local Austin, Texas musical artist. He goes by Txny Posas. I'll go ahead. Txny Posas? Okay, yeah. All right. He goes by.
Transitional phase. I'm sorry.
He's going through a transitional phase with his artist name, so we'll call him Txny Posas, and hopefully, he won't change his name to where people aren't able to Google him in the future. But just in case, I'll go ahead and link his most recent song. If there is anyone that would like to check out his most recent song, it is called Sightseeing in all caps. It can be found on Spotify.
Yeah, Sightseeing featuring artist and a friend of mine, Perplexing.
Let me just make sure I get this right here. So we've got Sightseeing, and it's Txny Posas. That's
still under that name, but
LILPOSAS, and then featuring Perplexing, which is spelled with a couple of X's instead of vowels. So that's something from this generation for sure. And yeah, I thank you all for being here and becoming the Shark. And I look forward to catching up with this musical artist in the future to see their transition and their growth in the musical industry.
Yeah. You already know what's up.
And I thank everybody who made it to the end of this podcast for sticking around. I hope you have a beautiful rest of the week ahead of you, and I wish you a spontaneously abundant and prosperous 2024. Thank you. I see stars, they be gleaming, I see Mars, I be dreaming, me and shorty, so I see me and shorty.